Welcome to Survey and Beyond, the data collection podcast by SurveyCTO. We share expert insights and practical tips on data collection and analysis, discuss innovative methods and tools to enhance data quality and security, and demystify complex data concepts to help people collecting data all around the world. I'm your host, Marta Costa. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Survey and Beyond. I'm Marta, and today I want to talk about some common survey errors and offer potential solutions to them. Obviously, no one wants to make a mistake in their work. And when it comes to survey research, where getting accurate information is so important, errors can become particularly problematic. So preventing survey errors is so important that in the field of survey research, experts have identified the most common errors you need to watch out for if you want to collect high-quality data. Some researchers divided these errors into two broad categories: sampling error and non-sampling error. So sampling errors occur before your data collection when you put together your sample. And these are errors that can lead your data into not truly reflecting your target population. Non-sampling errors occur during and after data collection, regardless of your sampling methods or errors in your sample. So for simplicity's sake, today's episode, we will be focusing on non-sampling errors, which are errors that happen during data collection. I'm going to share 3 common survey errors and ways on how you can prevent them. The first error I want to talk to you about is called enumerator effects or interviewer effects. This is a really common and frustrating problem that can happen when surveys are administered to respondents by enumerators or data collectors as interviews. Essentially, it refers to data inconsistencies that result because of enumerators. And there are a couple of common causes for this. The first one is enumerator or interviewer behavior. This can happen in a lot of ways, most commonly through either wording, pacing, tone of voice, body language, or even in the questions that the enumerator chooses to ask. This leads to differences in how the respondents understand and answer the survey questions. For example, consider an enumerator who stresses certain words or is rushing through the questionnaire, failing to clarify questions. These may unintentionally lead respondents toward a particular or inaccurate answer. Another common cause is demographics. Respondents may answer differently based on the enumerator's age, gender, ethnicity, or perceived social status. If enumerators are from the same community or someone they want to impress, perhaps due to having a higher social status or some other factor, respondents may feel the pressure to give socially desirable answers. Another example would be consider a situation where a woman is being interviewed on sensitive topics by a male interviewer. And you can think of how this could lead to underreporting on certain subjects. And by now, I think you can already understand how these enumerator effects can introduce bias into your surveys. But fortunately, there are a few practical solutions. I'm going to name 3 of these practical solutions that I think are easy enough to implement. The first one is training. Training enumerators is a very important strategy for so many things, including preventing enumerator effects. Not everyone you hire to collect data will be aware of the potential effects they can have on respondents, so cover this openly during training. As part of the training, it's also a really good idea to do field practice with enumerators before sending them out to collect data. So conduct mock interviews with enumerators and have enumerators conduct mock interviews with each other. You can take notes and share observations of ways enumerators can reduce their effects on respondents. The second solution is random spot checks in the field. While training the field teams should be always your first line of defense, the reality is that you need to be managing your teams as data is collected. So deploying a few managers from your team to drop into scheduled surveys from time to time for spot checks really helps keep data collection teams on track and encourages them to continue employing the best practices during interviews. And finally, the third solution would be write clear and unambiguous survey questions. This is really helpful in many ways, but when it comes to reducing enumerator effects, simple and concise questions that do not require any additional explanation on the enumerator's part are essential. Include all necessary details for comprehension in each question and train enumerators to administer the questions exactly as written. If needed, you can add notes and explanations in your digital form so that enumerators have all the information that they need to explain questions clearly. And if you want more information on writing great survey questions, we have another episode on this topic. The second error is the non-response error. It's generally agreed that it cannot be completely eliminated from a survey. And it simply refers to the fact that not everyone that was originally identified as part of your sample will fully participate in your survey. This might mean that some people might not answer the door or pick up the phone for an interview, but it can also mean that some respondents won't finish the survey, either because something comes up and that's outside of their control, or because they decided they don't want to continue. Here are a few tested strategies for reducing this error as much as possible in digital surveys. The first one is send reminders. This is fairly straightforward if you are conducting web surveys that are delivered by email. You can simply send reminder emails to people that haven't taken or completed the survey. For in-person or phone data collection, this gets a little trickier because you might rely on people answering the phone or being at home and available. But if the situation allows it, schedule your interviews for a suitable time and set reminder calls, SMS messages, or emails. The second solution is make the survey's objectives clear to respondents. They should fully understand why they are part of your sample, what you are studying, and why their participation is so valuable. The third solution are incentives. Offering incentives for survey completion can be controversial in survey research. But offering a small incentive, either monetary or non-monetary, is generally considered to be a motivating factor in people choosing to participate and complete your survey. But there are some pitfalls to consider with incentives. To avoid fraud and potential bias, it is important to be mindful of the data collection modes and cultural context of the incentives you offer. And don't forget to be completely transparent about what you're offering and why you are offering it. Finally, ensure your survey is as brief and to the point as possible to further reduce fatigue and attrition. Now let's move to the third error. The last data collection error I want to discuss today is called response errors. It is introduced by the respondents themselves, and it can happen unintentionally or intentionally. And I will focus on preventing errors that respondents can introduce intentionally. An unfortunate reality is that people can have many reasons for not answering surveys completely or honestly, even when the questions are well written and enumerators are trained well. One common reason for this can be security concerns about their answers being hacked or leaked and being shared with the wrong people. Another reason can be not wanting to attach their names to honest responses to sensitive questions, regardless of security. Finally, social desirability plays a role in this error too. I mentioned this earlier in the context of enumerator effects, but this can also occur outside of any effect from enumerators. For example, certain subjects can lead respondents to answer in particular ways because they want to feel that they are doing the right thing. Think of a survey on exercise and eating habits. Since it's generally considered favorable to exercise regularly and eat healthy, people may respond dishonestly about their own habits, even in an anonymous survey. So, here are some steps you can take to encourage honest and complete responses. The first one is be mindful about security throughout data's entire journey, from the moment you get it to how you share it. You should use the best possible data collection tool for data security and make sure your respondents know that their data is protected. Look for tools that offer features that let you control access to your data so that no one on your team can access it unless they absolutely need to. You can further protect user data by choosing data collection tools like SurveyCTO that allows you to encrypt all data at rest so that it's not visible to anyone that doesn't have the private key. After collection, maintain this security by storing data in a secure, potentially encrypted environment. And before sharing the data, ensure it is fully stripped of any identifying information and shared through a secure, controlled way. Importantly, tell respondents about these end-to-end security measures. The second is to keep respondents anonymous. Respondents need to know that their data is safe, but they can further be encouraged to answer sensitive questions honestly if they are kept anonymous, meaning that full data on them, even last names and phone numbers, is not even collected. And this isn't always possible depending on your survey, but it is definitely a strategy to consider if you want to reduce response error. As with data security, you should call this out clearly at the beginning of your survey for maximum impact. And finally, emphasize the importance of completely honest answers to your respondents and assure them that only honesty will produce real impact. Think again about that exercise and healthy eating habits survey. To encourage accurate responses, include disclosures from enumerators or in intro notes to your survey that explain to respondents how and why honest information is needed from them. For example, let them know that only with an accurate picture of local health needs will lead to the right investment in their community's health. Thank you for tuning in today on this episode about survey errors and strategies to prevent them. Survey errors is a really broad topic, and there are many errors and types of errors we didn't get to cover today. But I really hope you take away a few techniques that you hadn't thought about before that can improve your surveys and help you collect better data that leads to better decision making and ultimately a better world. We will see you next month. Survey and Beyond, the data collection podcast, is brought to you by SurveyCTO. To find out more about SurveyCTO and how it ensures reliable, secure, and scalable data collection, visit www.surveycto.com. And make sure to search for Survey and Beyond the Data Collection Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at SurveyCTO, thanks for listening.